Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Spirit Reflections Conversations Around a Fire. This is episode 86. My name is Frederico Gouveia. And for those of you that are joining us for the first time, Spirit Reflections is an ongoing series of bilingual conversations in both English and Portuguese about people's personal journeys, their spiritual journeys, the tools that they found along the way, and how these tools have shaped who they are and the work that they do today. We interview artists, philosophers, scientists, and religious people of all traditions to learn how they came into being and the insights that they've discovered along the way. If this is your first time here, please like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Spirit Reflections. And you can simply type that on YouTube and find the lotus flower there, which is our channel logo. This is also going to be broadcast later on Spotify in audio format and other platforms for audio podcasts. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you like what you see here, we'd like to ask that you support it by going to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Spirit Reflections, where you can see different ways that you can be part of this community that we're building here together. So sit back, join us around this mythical fire as we learn about our guest today, Kristin Hoffmann. So I'm going to read about Kristin's bio here, and then we're going to welcome her on the show. And stay tuned until the end because you won't want to miss what kind of music Kristin is going to create on the spot and lead us into a very beautiful transcendental sound experience, which is going to leave your heart filled with renewed energy. I'm sure about it. So Kristin Hoffmann, her music has been on major record labels, film and television, and she has performed throughout the world, collaborating with musical luminaries on projects ranging from individual albums to grand symphonic productions. She's a strong advocate for peace and ocean conservation, and she has appeared internationally at environmental concerts and conventions like TEDx in San Francisco, the Emoto Peace Project concert in Tokyo, the signing of the Fuji Declaration at Mount Fuji in Japan, and with the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra in London. In August of 2016, the symphonic version of her Song for the Ocean was performed at the Sydney Opera House by a choir of 800 Australian children. That must have been an amazing experience. For the last 10 years, Kristin has been the singer for the internationally acclaimed show Bella Gaia, a multimedia theater experience created in conjunction with NASA. Kristin has been a guest blogger for multiple magazines, including Gandhi's BE magazine, Elephant Journal, The Ecologist, and The Purple Fig, addressing worldly issues through the lens and vehicle of music. She's currently on the board of FIONS, I believe that's how it's pronounced, Friends of Institute of Noetic Sciences, and an active member of the esteemed group Evolutionary Leaders and a musical ambassador for the organization Unity Earth, recently traveling to Ethiopia, Australia, India, and the Holy Land, Jordan, Israel, Palestine, to share the message of universal peace and love. And you have to check out her website, Kristin Hoffmann, with two N's in the end, kristinhoffmann.com, where you get to see all about her music. We're going to put it up here on the screen. But before we talk about Kristin's music, which is just to die for, so beautiful, let's hear about Kristin, the person, how she got to where she is today. So Kristin, welcome to the show.
Oh, it's such an honor to be here with you, Frederico. Thanks so much for having me on Spirit Reflections.
And everyone that's want to ask questions to Kristin, feel free. We're going to start by talking about her personal journey a little bit and understand what does Sol Aum mean. And she's going to give us a demonstration of how that feels like and that sounds like. So the Global Peace Tribe is here present. I was honored to be there. Thank you, Kristin, for that invitation last week. It was a wonderful experience.
It was so fun to have you on. And you just brought the whole opening, Frederico's incredible conducting of Barber's Adagio for strings opened the whole evening. And then Frederico came on as a speaker. And it was just the perfect way to dive into a very deep show.
a generous tribe of beautiful people, a community from all over the world. Here's Kristin Hoffmann's website, and we're going to get right to it. So, Kristin, tell us a little bit about your background. Take us from the beginning.
Oh, from the beginning. Wow, that's a long time ago. But just kind of in a nutshell, the nutshell version, I was pretty young when I started music. I think I got my first little violin. Actually, that was my first instrument, which I know you'll appreciate, Federico.
Yes.
A violin
sure.
at 3. I should have brought it over. It's on top of a piano here, but a little picture of me playing the violin. And then about a year later, or a year and a half later, I really felt in my young self a calling to piano. And I started asking my parents, can I switch to piano? And I dove in to piano, and it was kind of like love at first sight. There was a deep connection, and I got really good very quickly with piano in the classical realm. And that was all wonderful until I hit a point where I got so good with it that I felt like there was kind of a pressure that formed both from just studying classical music. I know you know that there's this emphasis on kind of perfection, and there's some tension. And my loving, beautiful parents, they saw, oh my gosh, Kristin's doing so well in this. And I think there was also this excitement that, oh, maybe she's going to be a concert pianist. And so when I hit kind of teen years, I felt overwhelmed by that amount of pressure in the classical realm. But the blessing in disguise was that in my kind of long practice sessions, as a way to kind of break the intensity, I started to play around with my own improvisations. And I would usually do it for about 10 minutes until I heard my mom yell in from the kitchen, oh, Kristin, get back to your lesson. So it was my first kind of rebel, my revolt against the purely classical realms, that I discovered my love of improvisation and of songwriting. And from there, that just love grew and grew and grew until a point where I was started studying opera as well as a teen. I ended up going to Juilliard pre-college, and I loved opera. Although there was this deciding point, I had been continuously developing my own music as well as the classical, and there was this point where the two roads kind of came together, and I had to make a critical decision. Do I give my all to the classical realms, or do I actually give myself this gift of the dreamer and really dive into this vision I had for what is it like to be a songwriter? What is it like to bring through new material that people can tap into, that can be shared? And I decided to take the leap of faith and go in the direction of my own composing and my own explorations. And it's taken me, yeah, it was, especially coming from a classical platform. It felt, there was that feeling of, oh, if I leave now, am I ever going to be able to come back?
Right.
Because you know how critical those years are, especially in your early 20s and whatnot. In the classical music world, those years are critical. And if you want to truly make a life in the classical world, you have to really give your all during those years, I think. There are exceptions, but so I took that leap of faith, and I ended up signing a record deal with Capitol Records when I was still about 20 or 21, 20, I think, 20. And I went on that whole journey, and after a couple of years, one thing led to another. I ended up leaving that record label, and I moved on to another record label, Interscope Records, which you probably will know. It's like the home of a lot of rappers and Lady Gaga and all of these people. So I was having a lot of fun in my life exploring what it was like to do music through kind of the mainstream vehicle in my early to mid 20s. And then I had to take another leap of faith, because I realized, okay, even this mainstream container, it does not support the next level of what I was trying to get to, which was like more of a spiritual weaving into my music. They definitely wanted to keep me in a box of kind of
record sales and what's tried and true, the formula that works.
You got it. And that's fine. And I get it. When you're signed to a major label, you have to accept on some level that you are a product as well as a musician.
Exactly.
But there was a point where I realized, you know what? Either I'm going to be capped at my growth in this realm compared to the vision that I have as a musician, or I'm going to have to really take another leap of faith and take the road less traveled here. And so from the minute I parted ways with Interscope, that was when I feel the true mission journey in alignment with my mission of my life really began. Everything else was a powerful tool leading up to that point. But once I kind of pushed off and I found my courage, that's when the most amazing synchronicities started to show up and present themselves that really led me into the world that I'm in today, which is I would describe where I've landed as it's not even about performing music anymore. It's about being a vehicle for frequency and melody and sonic messages to come through that can help to open up a space of bridging and love and light for people of this planet. And maybe even beings of other realms. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel
Many
like there's
dimensions.
a possibility that it's not even just for people that we're seeing here. But
stay tuned. We're going to get a taste of this beautiful journey, the experience that she's going to take us, everybody. But Kristin, let me ask you something. How did you feel like you developed these spiritual wisdoms and insights? Did your family teach you? Did you get it in school? Did you read books about it? Like the spiritual part of it.
Yeah.
How did that happen?
That's a good question. Well, my parents were, I would say, religious and open to many religions. And my dad almost became a minister at one point in his life. And they did take me to Sunday school every week. But we chuckle because I was like the worst Sunday school. I was not into the dogmatic religious path from a very early age, and I gave my parents a really hard time about it. I'm sure I think my dad's watching now, he's probably chuckling about it. However, I will say that they seeded a field of spirit in my house, and somewhere just in my teenage years, I just felt that seeker just grow in my heart. There was that feeling of, oh, there's more than meets the eye. There's more here. And I saw the signs in my life. I saw the way when I listened and when I opened, very interesting things would connect that you could say, oh, that's coincidence. But to me, even as a young me, I was like, I think there's more here. And by my late teens, early 20s, I was really inspired by my questioning into these other realms and
so it's
to
really
who
like
we
an
are.
intuitive route. You took that as an intuitive route. It wasn't an intellectual learning, and it was more intuition. It came from within.
Yes,
Is that fair?
definitely it came from within. And then along the way, I've met so many incredible beings who introduced me to meditation or I went to my first satsang when I was about 20 with my best friend, Kristin Thomas, who introduced us.
Nice.
And we were in Sedona. And actually, I would say my journeys, Kristin Thomas, having a best friend who was also in this kind of spiritual seeking mode at the same time, we were like these two beings who constantly were reflecting with each other around our curiosity into the other realms. And so it was really fun to have another friend to kind of go into these questions with.
Nice.
And, going on that spiritual journey didn't disappoint. I feel like it has continued to amaze me. It has continued to leave me in awe. And as I have become a better listener and a better, I would say, antenna for spirit, I don't know how else to say it. It's almost like miracles occur. And in the musical sense, when I get out of my own way, when the thinking, egoic Kristin gets out of the way, and I just say a prayer like, let me be a vessel, a vehicle for the highest love, for the highest light, and the highest form of connectivity between beings.
Absolutely.
And then I just let myself receive and tune to the highest form of all that my soul, spirit, whatever you want to think of it as, has gathered throughout lifetimes, this lifetime, the dream world, all of these, this culmination of experiences. When I really allow myself to just sink, things come through that are beyond just the performer. There's no longer performer. It's about sharing. It's about
sort of melts away, right?
It's about a co-creative field, right? It's not even about if there's other people in a space. Again and again and again, I've become fully aware that every single person who's listening, like every person who's listening now, and every person who will listen in the future to this podcast, I fully believe in what I've seen again and again is that your intention, you who are listening right now, will actually shift the field of what wants to come through as music. It's amazing. It's amazing. In this last couple of years, there's been a lot of pre-records, right? A lot of people want you to do pre-records. And I've noticed a distinct difference when I'm doing a pre-record that's just me, or if I actually go on and I bring through a Sol Aum piece live with a group of people. The energetic encoding is completely different.
The energetic encoding. Beautiful. I love it. Well, we should experiment with that tonight. So I guess we should get right to it. I mean, before we go there, I just want to give a shout out to Kristin Thomas, who introduced us, who's a wonderful human being. I admire her light tremendously. She introduced me to some beautiful organizations in New York, including Fountain House, which does a lot of work for people with mental health. So I find that there's just so much beauty there, and it's no coincidence that we've been introduced, because when we had a Zoom conversation preparing for this interview, and you began to play the music that you play, and it began to come through, I was in tears. It was just very soothing and just appeasing. So I can't wait to have us do that now, and then we can continue talking afterwards.
Well, we'll see what comes through. What I'm going to explore right now. So Sol Aum, just to share what it is. In early on in my exploration with soul singing and improvisational sound, it's funny. I get so many of my important messages for life when I'm in the bathtub or in water. When I'm in water, suddenly it's like, do. So many things start connecting. And I was in a bath and I was getting this message deeply. Oh, Kristin, the soul singing that you do, it's time to actually share it with others, not just do it with yourself. And right after that message, I received the message that it is called Sol Aum. S-O-L, and then you can see the tilde, A-U-M. And to me, what that means is soul, light, weaving with Om, the vibration of the universe. So it's light vibration. And
light vibration.
And, even Sol Aum has kind of shifted and gone through many iterations throughout the years. Sometimes I'll just put on a drone and it's very simple, just chanting over top. Sometimes there's full songs that come through with full lyrics and whatnot. Wow. And then recently I've been experimenting with Sol Aum looping. And the idea that came to me months ago was, what would it be like to bring through a whole chorale kind of sound, a healing chorale of voices, maybe just voices, maybe with some light piano accompaniment. We'll see what wants to come through. But the main goal will be mostly to just use my voice to bring through these sounds. And
any instructions for us that are listening now or going to listen to how to prep for this exposure now?
That's a great concept. I think that the way we listen to music is almost as important as the music itself.
Yeah.
Right? There's great music that is perfect for background music in life. But if you really want to have a healing experience with music, it's good to gift yourself the space to receive it. Right? So if you can, try to find a quiet space if you're not in one, and maybe even lie down. I'm a big fan of lying down while receiving music or Sol Aum. I do a lot of sound baths with Sol Aum where people lie down. And close your eyes, let yourself receive, and also know that, like I was saying before, that you are a conscious co-creator. So if there are any questions that you have in your life right now that are living in your heart, anything that you've been yearning for, maybe ask before the music comes. Music is a great conduit for answers. And when we've asked questions and then music comes and we listen, I find that a lot of answers will come for us.
Wonderful.
So yes,
Well,
the way we
let's do
listen
it.
is very important. So here
For
we go.
those that are just listening, that are not watching through the podcast, we're about to prepare to receive a Sol Aum, a bath of sound healing. So afterwards, we're going to come back and talk to Kristin. So I'm going to take myself off screen, put myself on mute, and you take it away.
Okay, perfect. So let's see what happens. This song has never been written, and it will be birthed in this moment, inviting in exactly the frequencies, the melodies, the messages that can serve us in the highest way in this moment. Oops, sorry. Listen to that voice, it'll guide you back. Listen to that voice that's beating in your heart. It will guide you. It will guide you on. Listen to that voice that's beating in your heart. It's the spirit of you. It's the mission. It will guide you on. Just listen to that deep voice singing. It's always singing out. It's always singing. It's always singing.
What a treat.
Let me turn off my gadgets.
Every single hair in my body was just goosebumps.
Oh.
Beautiful. Kristin, and you offer these experiences to people, right? One-on-one participants. You call them even in sessions like the womb. Tell us a little bit about that so I can put it in the screen for people to get to experience that themselves.
So I do a lot of these in groups and as part of many programs. So if you're running a program and you feel, like you'd like to enhance a spoken program with music and with some spontaneous sonic messaging that comes through, I offer that. And then and Sol Aum Song of Light online group, that can be 2+ participants. So it can either be a very private experience for you and another or a group of friends, or it can be something where I come on in an actual program. And then I offer one-on-one experiences, and they're so beautiful. It gives you a chance to dive in. We tune in together, we meditate, we talk about a question or what you're going through in your life at that moment, and maybe open up a question. And then I go into usually about a 20-minute Sol Aum journey that's brought through just for you, and I record it, and then you have that piece to work with. That is your Sol Aum piece. And I think it can be really wonderful for those who are soul searching and really need that kind of soundtrack for your own life and for your own meditation.
That's beautifully put, because people are seeking a lot of therapy, a lot of guidance. A lot of it is through spoken, rational, intellectual constructs and processes. Whereas in your case, there is this subliminal message that is through the music that is going to speak directly to the heart, and it will unfold itself in that way that it's going to have to unfold, right?
Yes.
Divinely, somehow.
For sure. And I find that so many times in personal sessions, like sometimes whole lyrics will come through and they just speak right to that person's journey at the time. Sometimes people say, oh my gosh, how did you know I was going through that? And it's just about it's like you're a co-creator in the process. So when we meet together, it's not me bringing through a song for you, it's we bringing a song for you.
Absolutely. And the Global Peace Tribe is saying here that being part of the Sonic Soul family has been an amazing experience. So tell us a little bit how people can become part of this soul family and what they receive as part of being in this community.
Oh, that's great. So I have another membership, which is called, it's kind of my version of a Patreon. It happens right from my website. So if you go to KristinHoffmann.com, oh, here we go, KristinHoffmann.com, and then on the homepage, you click on membership, it will lead you to the last page where you can become a member. And if you join my Sonic Soul family as a member, I offer a one Sunday per month at 6 p.m. Eastern time. I gather with my Sonic Soul family in my Zoom room. There's a theme each month that I think is I always choose something that can be universally applicable to each person in their own way. So it might be higher love. That was a theme one month. And we dive into the theme of higher love through music and through discussion. So I usually do bookends of music, one Sol Aum journey and one song with lyrics. I call them songs because to differentiate. But in the middle, we get a chance to share, and it's kind of talking stick style. So each person gets about 2 to 3 minutes to share. Beautiful. And we feed off of each other. And we've grown into such a beautiful group. And there's always new people coming in. And it's a very special time to gather each month.
And in addition to the music, you're also an Ayurvedic chef and holistic health coach, right?
Yes, I've studied Ayurvedic nutrition. Health and nutrition have been a passion of mine also since teenage years. And I'm kind of the herbal woman, and I love to cook. And I studied Ayurveda and actually went to India to study Ayurvedic cooking. And I would call it a mini chef because it was so incredible. It was so incredible. The whole journey into Ayurveda it's like you're giving yourself the gift of healing and beautiful information and how to really tune also to the planet and to the elements, because Ayurveda is all about tuning your being with the elements. And if something is amiss in your life, it's because one of the elements is maybe too potent or too weak. And so I love the concept in the very beginning where it's like we're literally listening to ourselves and listening to ourselves in relationship to earth, air, fire, water, and space. But I found that Ayurveda is a lifetime practice. I don't claim to know everything about Ayurveda. What I realized through my studies is this is an ancient and very vast practice. There is so much knowledge that has been collected by so many incredible people throughout the years. And I feel with it that I could study my whole lifetime and still be a student. So that's the mindset I take with it.
Beautiful. Yeah. And you also teach people, right? You provide some kind of mentorship and coaching on how people can develop these skills musically as well, right?
Yes, I love to teach. I do a lot of anything from teaching not basic, but fun and skills around singing and piano. I do that. And then if we want to get more into creative exploration, I teach songwriting. I coach people on how to set up electronic home studios if you want to do music online and have it sound really good. I've been coaching a lot of musicians and speakers through that. So
yeah, it's such an important tool in this day and age that we live in, with Zoom meetings and remote speaking and learning and performing and sharing, that it behooves us to upgrade our tools. And if we have any kind of talent, which we all do, it's an amazing way to upgrade our talents in the electronics of the world, right?
Oh, for sure. I mean, if you had told me a couple of years ago that I would be doing so many concerts and events online, I would have said, what? Because I was so busy touring around the world. And now I've had this beautiful opportunity through, a challenging experience has opened up a beautiful opportunity, which has been to connect with people all around the world from my home little studio. And but one thing that became evident in the beginning of the whole lockdown was that sound through Zoom and through normal electronic modes that were established at that time really sucked.
Yeah.
So it was really bad. I did a few events and I listened back and I'm like, oh, this does not convey emotion. So I became like the mad scientist in my studio, testing out so many different configurations and finding what worked, finding what didn't work. And then I would try events and listen back. Oh, how does this sound? And eventually I got to a point where on one event I started seeing people crying. And I thought, oh, okay, we're on to something now. If emotion can be conveyed and it sounds good, people will be able to open on the other end, on the receiving end.
And you have also do a lot of events where people are getting some kind of training on some topic that's completely different than music, but then you come in like a break and do like a sound healing session. Tell us how that's like.
Yeah, that's been an incredible journey. I work with a lot of speakers and other teachers and mentors, leaders of all different subject matters, whether it be quantum physics or self-help or a peace organization geared towards women's empowerment. I mean, you name it. I've worked and woven with so many different leaders. One thing I've seen again and again is if you're teaching and there's a lot of speaking, people tend to get tired, even if it's really engaging content. And one thing that can really enhance and recharge the
Can you
space
hear
is,
us?
oh yeah, I can hear you.
I I think you're back now.
I think I'm back.
Okay, I only heard up to if there's a lot of like think materials that are being taught in
Oh
these
yeah.
events.
I was saying that in events or classes or workshops where there's a lot of speaking, even if it's really engaging material, we only have so much energy and sometimes we can get tired and our energy can start getting down. And music has this incredible capability of lifting people up, of recharging their systems, of inspiring, of getting visions and feelings and ideas flowing. So one thing I do is sometimes it can be a few-hour workshop, and maybe twice during that workshop, I'll come in and share music. Sometimes people are teaching an ongoing course, and they'll have me do like bookends, the first date to help bring people in and have an emotional experience,
Right.
and then the very last. Or sometimes if it's a meditation retreat, I'll come in once a day for a little while so that people have an emotional shared experience, and then they go into the next parts of the day. So I'm always open to all kinds of collaborations. That's one thing that I've found to be the most important gift of my path with music is sharing with others and feeling the way music can really enhance so many different settings, so many different places. It immediately can take things deeper. It can connect hearts in ways that I don't know anything else other than music that can
Definitely.
instantaneously, no matter what our background is, no matter our belief systems, or whether we're holding these intense feelings of frustration, or, people can be in like this, and then all of a sudden the right piece of music comes in and, oh,
Yeah, it's
people
an
open to
emotional
greater
relief.
possibility. Yeah.
An amazing Global Peace Tribe says Kristen is an amazing person to partner with for sure.
Oh, I love the
It's
Global Peace Tribe. I have to say, if you have not checked out the Global Peace Tribe, and this is where Frederico was a guest the other day, it's definitely a wonderful place to go for weekly inspiration. There's a few shows per week, and they're constantly turning out incredible content and wonderful guests. And I've been a musician and also co-hosting with them, which is another thing that I never imagined I would do, but
and you
co-hosting
were
with them.
great at it. It was so beautiful to have
Thanks.
you and Scott hosting Saturday night's broadcast about our relationship with death and in a moment that we're going through in the calendar, which is in Christian tradition, the time when Christ is in the desert. And so there's some reflections of us sometimes finding ourselves in similar deserts and death
Mm.
being a pathway also to rebirth and to new beginnings also. And I felt super humbled and just embraced by all the love that came from that gathering from all over the world. People from all over the world were in that Zoom meeting and the Facebook groups. It was incredible. Check it out, globalpeacetribe.com.
Yes. And, I'm fascinated with the role that music can play in that relationship with the death and dying process as well. I know it's a hard subject for some of us to
Right.
talk about, but music can also open our hearts to greater communication and love and light around the most important rite of passage, right? The culmination of our life experience. And I know you've had some powerful experiences with music
Definitely.
in your own life and relation the end
Yeah,
of life process.
thanks to spiritism and mediumistic meetings, we've been able to witness and experience a lot of reconnections in the spirit world of people who had tragically passed away and were sort of lost, and then were able to cross over, and the music played a role in some situations too. And I think that people more and more, as they become at peace with the notion of death, when they're able to incorporate the breathing and the music, especially the kind of musical offering that you have so well developed in the last few years of your life, can be such a healing blessing that can last beyond the physical body in ways that we're only beginning to understand how of service, how useful, how ready we can be our souls when we arrive in the spirit world to begin a new journey and not have to have so much time, quote unquote, in recovery, in adaptation, in having to understand where we are and what happened and why. If we're able to prepare ourselves, like you said, for this rite of passage, the most important one, then we arrive in the other side ready, willing, and able to embrace all the glory and the beauty that our eternal soul has, right?
Yeah. I actually loved what you shared the other night when someone asked a question about, or they shared that they're so scared of end of life and of dying. And they asked you what would be your advice. And you said, put on a beautiful piece of music and envision yourself already there on the other side,
Yeah,
right? Did I
yeah,
say
yeah.
that in a way that
Correct.
you'd
Yeah.
agree with? Yeah. And I loved that. So we can literally practice now through the blessing of music, tuning in and envisioning ourselves in a space of supported light and love in another realm. And I think it's a great practice to do while we're here and use music
Absolutely.
as a platform for
And
that.
there's no doubt that what we just did, along with everything that you do, reverberates in these dimensions. And the mentors, the guides, the nurses, the doctors, the helpers in the spirit realm that are there to help awaken, comfort, enlighten, inspire people are taking advantage, and they're like literally bringing those energies towards them to use as aid along the other tools that they have, which we will discover one day.
Oh, yes, that's the one thing that we're sure of. We'll all discover it.
Definitely. Kristen, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for being here on Spirit Reflections, for sharing this conversation around the fire, for all the light, all the beauty that your music has, and especially to take us through a sound healing, a soul experience, which I will forever keep in my heart and cherish as I listen to and meditate on my own life with
Oh,
it.
thank you so much, Federico. It's been such a joy to be here with you today, and always, always a wonderful experience to see what wants to come through in the musical realms,
Absolutely.
and to talk about my favorite subject. So,
Definitely. Stay safe, stay well, stay in light and love. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Go check Kristen out at kristinhoffmann.com with two N's and be part of this musical illumination that she's helping be a vessel of so that we can find more healing and more peace in our day to day lives. We're going to close with our vignette and we'll see you next time. Thank you,
yay!
Kristen.
Thank you.
Take care.
See you soon.